Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1507A, and today's date is February 26, 2018, and the title of the episode is Economic Indicators Are Being Triggered, Signaling a Major Bear Market. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, over the many reports, we talk about manipulation and how they manipulate the statistics to make us believe that everything is fantastic, like the unemployment numbers, where they're saying that the unemployment numbers are around, 4 or 4.1%, around that range, and we're at full employment right now. And over the many years since the 2008 financial crisis, and even before that, they have been manipulating the unemployment numbers and basically not counting those individuals that can't find a job. And of course, they're saying that that's not true, but it's turning out, and this is coming from a Fed report, saying that, listen, most of the working age men will never return to the labor force. Those individuals that haven't found jobs, well, they're pretty much out of luck. And we can see that this trend has accelerated over time, where they said the middle class was being lost, and it has been lost. Now, the labor force participation rate for prime age men 25 to 54 has declined dramatically in the U.S. since the 60s, but in the last couple of years, it has accelerated and it has intensified. And we can see right now, in 1996, there were 4.6 million prime age men that did not participate in the labor force. By 2016, this number is now at 7.1 million and continually rising. And if you look at this, you could see that the entire middle class has been wiped out completely. And what they're saying is that these jobs, well, they're not coming back. Once they're lost, most of them, they're not going to see a return of these type of jobs. And we see at this point, this is why they wanted the illegals coming into this country, because they realized the only jobs in this country, and they were setting it up and getting prepared for a third world nation. That was their entire plan. Now, what we need to do is we need to start creating some of these jobs. How do we do this? Well, the Fed can't do it. We just can't create currency and create jobs. We have to bring some form of manufacturing, some type of production back to this country. That is the only way. We need to increase trade items that we produce here in this country. And we can see this is the path that we're on right now, but it is a long path, and there are other forces that are stopping this from happening. At the same time this is all happening, we see that there are different indicators all around us showing us that there are signs that this economy is not doing well at all, and it's deteriorating very quickly. And we know that the housing market right now, well, it is not doing well at all. The housing market is doing terribly. Yes, they have the 20 cities. Yes, they can blow up the bubbles. We know that Fannie and Freddie, they're asking for a bailout already, and the whole thing is a complete mess. Actually, we're back to where we were prior to 2008. There's really no difference. The big difference is that they created the situation to be even worse than it was back in 2008. Of course, they're not acknowledging this yet, but eventually what will happen is that all this information will come out eventually, and people will be looking at it just like they did in 2008 when everyone believed that the real estate market was going to continually move up and everything was going to be great. The subprime securities were AAA. Everyone's going to be looking back at all of this saying, how did we get here? And of course, we've been mapping this, we've been watching it, and we can see and we know exactly how we got here, because the whole thing has been one gigantic illusion. Now, Fannie and Freddie, they guarantee around $4 trillion in residential mortgages, accounting for some 40% of the U.S. market. And Fannie and Freddie today, they are broke. Remember, back during the financial crisis, they were bailed out at the tune of about $187 billion from the taxpayers. They were nationalized at this point. The Senate tried to replace these two because they knew that this whole thing was ridiculous. Nothing was solved, But that failed. That plan completely failed, and they kept them in place. And now they're completely broke. They need another bailout. The housing industry is a house of cards waiting to come down. And the entire financial system is based upon this, because once the housing market comes down, there are so many things that are interconnected with the housing market, especially the everyday person. When the housing market is increasing in value, people have confidence. They feel good about it. They say, you know something, my house is now worth, $300,000 or $500,000 or $700,000, even though it's on paper and the only way you can collect is by selling your home or taking out a home equity line of credit, but that's not really your money. You have to pay it back. So people have this false sense of security. When the housing market comes down, that sense of security completely disappears. And what that means is people don't go out and say, hey, I'm going to spend money because my house has gone up in value. They kind of keep all their funds. They don't like to spend anything. They get very nervous and afraid, and that hurts retail, that hurts the restaurant industry, that hurts everything. And then all of a sudden what happens is people see the housing prices coming down. They don't want to purchase homes. That hurts the lumber industry. That hurts the electricians, the plumbers, the construction workers. You name it, it affects almost everything. This is why the Fed understands and realizes they need to continually pump up the bubble to make it look like housing is doing a lot better than it really is. And this is what they did prior to 2008 until the whole thing started to fall apart. This is what they've been doing to the 20 cities that they keep reporting on, saying that the housing prices are going up, because once you hear that, you feel really good about it. But outside the 20 cities, a lot of people, well, they're having a very difficult time selling their homes or getting the price that they want. They're lowering the prices, and we can see right now that the housing market is not doing well as everyone thinks it is. We see existing home sales, new construction, all declining right now. We also see that Bank of America is out there and saying, listen, 13 of the 19 bear market indicators have been triggered. Now, let's go back a month ago. Just as the S&P hit all-time high, Bank of America caused a stir when it announced that one of its proprietary guaranteed bear market indicators created by the Bank of America quants was just triggered. And we can see that once they came out with this, all of a sudden we saw a drop in the market. And it was pretty darn accurate. It was correct on 11 out of the 11 previous occasions that it was triggered, that something was going to happen, there was going to be some type of correction, and there actually was. Fast forward to today, guess what? Well, they're saying that their crash indicator was triggered once again. And they're saying that we are much closer to a major disaster. Another 2 indicators have been triggered, meaning that no less than 13 of the 19 bear market signposts are now flashing red. And this tells us that we're headed towards something really, really big. And they're saying that this might occur in the March time frame. So we'll have to watch this very carefully, because when we look back in time, we can see that every time there was a trigger of their signal that tells you that there's going to be a bear market, all of a sudden the market came down. And it looks like we have hit that once again. And like I said, once this starts to come down, yes, the central banks, yes, the plunge protection team, yes, the high frequency traders, they will do whatever they have to keep the market up. But if there's a lot of individuals in there selling, and there's other black swans and other things that occur, guess what? The whole thing comes tumbling down, and they will not be able to stop it this time. They will try, but it will continually fall and fall and fall. And once that happens, other things are going to occur, just like it did back in 2008. We're going to see corporations saying, you know something, we can lay off now. You know something, we're going to have to cut costs. And everything is going to be a domino effect. Now, we do have this battle going on between the central bank, which right now, they want the system down. They want to place more pressure on Trump. As you can see, they have their event moving forward. They're still trying to push the narrative there, keeping the news cycle busy with what is going on. If they can bring down the economy, that would add to it. And we can see right now, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to push this as hard as they possibly can. Now, what's very interesting, we know that Puerto Rico is having a very difficult time. And the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, William C. Dudley, held a press conference to effectively tell Puerto Ricans to suck it up as they attempt to recover from the humanitarian crisis caused by the Hurricane Maria, which devastated the infrastructure and wiped out electricity and everything else. And we can see right now that they really don't care about what happens there as long as they get paid on their debt. And we see right now, this is a good example of how the Federal Reserve will react when there are problems in the country. Their first order of business is to make sure they can get repayment of their debt or their interest payments. Everything else they could care less. They could care less about anything else that happens in this country. Because remember, central bankers, they have no allegiance to a people, a group, a country. The allegiance is to themselves. And we can see this with Puerto Rico. I mean, they haven't even recovered from the hurricane. They're still struggling down there, and they're just worried about getting their payments on the debt. Now, remember, central bankers, they will not bankrupt a country or a province or a state or anything like that. They will make sure they keep it in limbo, where they can barely get by, but they can still make their interest payments, but they have to push austerity. That's where they like these countries, these states, these provinces, these areas, because if they go under, then all eyes are on the central bank saying, look what you've done here. You destroyed the country. You destroyed this area. They don't want that to happen, and that doesn't benefit them in any way, because what they like to do is keep them operational, having the interest payments come in, and it allows them to buy their real assets using pennies on the dollar. That's their whole strategy. That's their strategy from the beginning of time, and it allows them to control the country. It allows them to control the area, control what is going on there. And we can see right now that the central bankers, it looks like they're at the point where they're trying to bring the system down. They want the system down. They want it crashed. They want it moved, but they need to make sure they have the blame where it needs to go, and that's off of them and onto someplace else. The other thing that they're worried about is the crypto market. And for those people that are writing in and asking me questions about the crypto market, again, I am not an expert in cryptocurrency. Yes, I do have cryptocurrencies, and I can tell you what I do, and I have no connection to any of this. So what I do is I use an offline wallet. It's called Exodus.io. So if you go onto your browser and you type in Exodus.io, you'll see this offline wallet, which it's a piece of software that you download to your computer. You set it up, you sign on. There's two keys, your private and your public. You take your private key and you put it into a safe or someplace safe, just in case your computer crashes and your wallet disappears. If you have the private and your public key, you can rebuild your wallet afterwards to make and get to all your funds. From your wallet, you can store Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, anything else that they have there. They have a list of many different cryptocurrencies. I also use an exchange called Bittrex. I also use Coinbase. Coinbase allows you, and so does Bittrex, allows you to deposit into your bank account. Actually, Coinbase did allow you, and they still do for a very short period of time, allow you to dump your cryptocurrency into PayPal, and then you can take it from PayPal and dump it into your account. I believe they're getting rid of PayPal, and they're going to only allow you to dump it into your bank account. But you can use those two. There's many others like Kraken and things like that. To purchase any of these things, you would have to go through, like Coinbase, for instance, you would have to take your dollars and upload dollars into your account in Coinbase and purchase Bitcoin, or you can purchase Ethereum. You can purchase anything like that. And you can do that in your wallet in the Exodus.io. Once you have Bitcoin and you deposit your funds into there using your public address, and you have to make sure your public address is correct, you can then exchange. You can say, you can take Bitcoin and say, I want to exchange it into Ethereum. I can take Bitcoin and exchange it into Dash. I can take Bitcoin and exchange it into whatever cryptocurrency you want. Or you can do the other way around. You can have Ethereum and you can put it into Bitcoin, or Ethereum into Litecoin, whatever you want to do there. This is what I do. I have no connection to this whatsoever. I've been using it. It works very, very well. And I haven't had any problems whatsoever. And you can download the software. You can see how it works. Make sure you take a copy of your private key and you put it someplace safe, in a fireproof safe or something like that. Make sure it doesn't get damaged. It's almost like if you get your bank account. You want to put that, someplace safe so you keep it and you remember it and you know where it is. Same thing with this. You want to do the same thing. So those people who are asking about the cryptocurrencies, that's what I do. I don't have a lot of them, but you can see how it works. You can play with it. You can purchase some of them. And through Coinbase and through Bittrex, it allows you to use your dollars and go out and purchase Bitcoin. And then from that point on, then you can, exchange them or do whatever you want to do. And I do believe that everyone should have some cryptocurrencies, because I think this is going to be the wave of the future, just like the internet was the wave of the future. I do believe that you need to have gold and silver still to safeguard your wealth, because over time, thousands and thousands of years, silver, gold, other precious metals have been used to ensure your wealth. Do I think we're going to be using it as some type of currency? No, I think it's going to be used to ensure, to protect your wealth from paper currency devaluing. And then you can take the gold, the silver, and when everything is all said and done, you'll be able to use that then and put that into cryptocurrency or whatever the next currency is going to be. So I do believe that you're going to need cash on hand when this whole thing starts to fall apart. I believe you're going to need some cryptocurrency, and I would keep it in an offline wallet. I would also have gold and silver, and make sure you're diversified and make sure you're protecting every single part of your entire wealth for your family. You also need food. You also need water supplies, because when we see inflation, which we will, your dollars aren't going to go that far. The shelves are going to be wiped out. Things are going to be very, very rough, and you're going to need some supplies to get by for this period of time, because you don't want to be running to a market where everyone else is running to. You don't want to say, hey, I need bread, I need water, I need supplies, because everyone's going to be there, and as inflation hits, the dollar is going to be worth less and less and less, but you need cash on hand in the beginning because that's all people know. So we can see right now, these are the things that you need to make sure that you're prepared and ready. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.